9.28 percentage points higher than the currency, a safe haven asset for global investors and capital, the report noted. World's highest expressway opens to traffic. The world's highest expressway, running between the city of Nagchu and Lhasa, capital of southwest China's Tibet Autonomous Region, went into operation on Saturday, with the opening of the final 227-kilometer section between Nagchu and Yangbajan, according to the Ministry of Transport. The Nagchu-Lhasa Expressway, running 295 kilometers with an average altitude of over 4,500 meters, is part of the expressway linking Beijing and Lhasa, and is the first highway connecting Lhasa and the grasslands of northern Tibet. Its operation will shorten the drive between Lhasa and the city of Nagchu to 3 hours from more than 6. It will significantly enlarge the transport capacity and improve the level of security of the corridor connecting Tibet with northwest China's Qinghai province, said an official with the ministry. The Yangbajan-Lhasa section of the expressway opened to traffic in October 2020. South Korea to give animals legal status. South Korea plans to change its civil code to grant animals legal status, Chung Jae-min, legal counsel at the country's justice ministry, told Reuters. The amendment will probably be approved by Parliament in September and will recognize animals as sentient beings, with a right to protection and welfare. The number of animal abuse cases in the country increased from 69 in 2010 to 914 in 2019. Data published by a lawmaker's office showed. Under the current legal system, animals are treated as objects, Jae-min said. Once the Civil Act declares animals are no longer simply things, judges and prosecutors will have more options when determining sentences, he said. To find more audio news, please subscribe to China Daily English News on Himalaya FM. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.
This is China Daily Audio News. I'm Nellie Min. Xi's leadership raising people's quality of life. Public sanitation, an example of pursuing advanced development in the new era. Coupled with the rapid growth of its economy over the past decades, China has been striving to improve public sanitation as it upgrades infrastructure across the country. The phrase toilet revolution often accompanies headlines about China's efforts to improve the state of its public restrooms, as well as improving rural toilets and sanitation, and the issue is a serious matter to the country's leadership. President Xi Jinping has been consistently working to improve people's living standards via the introduction of modern toilets, irrespective of whether some critics may think discussing such a matter is beneath his presidential status. On his nationwide inspection tours, Xi often asks residents whether they use pit latrines or flush toilets, and he stresses the importance of clean toilets. A small toilet has big significance to people's quality of life, he said. Analysts said that behind China's emphasis on the toilet issue and the positive measures to improve both urban and rural hygiene conditions is the people-centered development philosophy of the Communist Party of China, which it has been upholding in governing the country. It is also an insight into Xi's leadership in pursuing high-quality development in this new era. Zhu Yilong, a member of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, China's top political advisory body, said that the toilet revolution is a major issue in China that matters to people's well-being. Improving sanitation conditions is directly related to people's health and ecological conservation. It also has great relevance to the image of a city and even the entire country, Zhu said, adding greater efforts are still needed to advance the campaign to improve people's quality of life. The country's public toilets used to be described as unhygienic, filthy, crude, anxiety-inducing, and they were often in short supply. Despite China's status as the world's second-largest economy, it still faces the contradiction of unbalanced and inadequate development and the people's ever-growing needs for a better life. Toilets in poorer rural areas are often little more than makeshift shelters surrounded by trees and shrubs, while others are open pits next to pigsties, which can potentially pose health risks to villagers. Even in urban areas, many toilets give off offensive odors that can be detected well beyond bathroom doors. Xi's personal championing of the toilet revolution began as a campaign by the National Tourism Administration to improve public washrooms nationwide, but its scope has since been expanded to become part of the country's broader rural development strategy. Toilet improvement is not a trivial matter, Xi said in an instruction in November 2017. It's key to the building of urban and rural civilization. It should not be limited to scenic spots or urban areas, but should also be extended to rural areas as part of efforts to vitalize the rural areas and improve rural living conditions. In an instruction released on July 23rd about advancing the toilet revolution in rural areas, she said that making clean, flushing toilets accessible to rural residents should be part of the country's plan for rural vitalization, which is the country's new goal after its victory in eliminating the absolute poverty in rural areas. He stressed that the quality of the toilets is always more important than the numbers. More than just a singular issue of improving public bathrooms, the toilet revolution is also a way to examine how the central government takes account of public opinions and how agencies can effectively implement national policy campaigns, observers said. All eyes are on China as it seeks to revolutionize the toilet by increasing access to sanitation for all. Kellyanne Naylor, Associate Director for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene at UNICEF, wrote in an article published on the organization's website. What happens today in China has the potential to impact not just its 1.4 billion citizens, but billions of others in the world. The toilet revolution's success in China has been due largely to strong political leadership, healthy financial investment, and prioritization at a local level, Naylor wrote. China is one of more than 190 countries working toward achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which include the goal for everyone to have access to a safe toilet by 2030. According to the World Toilet Organization, a global nonprofit body committed to improving toilet and sanitation conditions worldwide, 40% of the world's population does not have access to toilets. Thanks to years of hard work, China's toilet revolution has delivered huge benefits for rural and urban communities alike. In 2019 alone, the central authority set aside 7 billion yuan, or $1.1 billion, for toilet projects. As of the end of last year, 68% of villages now have well-managed public toilets, according to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Hong Guobao, a farmer of Shangjiang Village in Wanqiao Township of Dalibai Autonomous Prefecture, Yunnan Province, started using the flushing toilet in his home in April, thanks to the local Toilet Revolution program. Like him, all of his fellow villagers have clean, safe bathrooms in each household. This is not only a toilet use issue, but also a change of lifestyle for us, Hong said. Find more audio news on the China Daily app.
This is China Daily Audio News. I'm Nellie Min. Metabolism tanks after 60. Middle age spread cannot be blamed on a waning metabolism, according to an unprecedented analysis of the body's energy use. The study of 6,400 people from 8 days old up to age 95 in 29 countries suggests that metabolism remains rock solid throughout midlife. It peaks at the age of 1, is stable from 20 to 60, and then inexorably declines. And it cannot be a coincidence that diseases of old age kicked in as metabolism fell. Professor Tom Sanders from King's College London said, interestingly, they found very little differences in total energy expenditure between early adult life and middle age, a time when most adults in developed countries put on weight. These findings would support the view that the obesity epidemic is fueled by excess food energy intake and not a decline in energy expenditure.
Calorie creep leads to weight gain. While we all know that the general calorie limit we should stick to is 2,000 a day for women and 2,500 for men, it's easy to exceed this without realizing. Overeating by even just 50 to 100 calories regularly, whatever the source, can lead to weight gain. As long as you're exceeding the daily calorie limit, it can lead to calorie creep. In principle, every extra 3,500 calories you eat equates to a weight gain of 1 pound. For example, one apple provides an excess of 95 calories. An extra apple a day makes you gain 10 pounds a year. Golden Mummies debut in Beijing. An exhibition on ancient Egyptian culture opened at World Art Museum in Beijing on August 15th. A total of 107 sets of rare archaeological antiques from ancient Egypt were on display, among which 6 golden mummies debuted together for the first time in China. The 6 golden mummies date back to the 1st century under the reign of Greek-Roman governance. 11 Fayum mummy portraits with a history of nearly 2,000 years were also on exhibit. Each portrait was made of hot wax and pigment. The exhibits also include 12 painted mummy masks, 18 Hellenistic statues, sculptures and stone tablets, 25 pieces of pottery and jewelry used by ancient Egyptian aristocracy, and 33 glass containers and some papyrus documents. The exhibition is set to conclude on November 15th. Buckingham Palace Gardens branded rip-off. Visitors to Buckingham Palace now have the opportunity to explore the Queen's private garden, as the Queen has opened up the Palace Gardens to the public for the very first time. In April, self-guided tour tickets around the Palace Gardens went on sale, initially attracting overwhelming demand. For £16.50 per adult or £42 for a family of up to 3 children, they promised a chance to enjoy the beauty and calm of this walled oasis. However, the gardens received a number of damning reviews on TripAdvisor, with some customers complaining about how much was available. A number noted you had to pay an extra £6.50 for a tour of the Rose Garden.
而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方
China is ready to work with the Arab states to promote peace, cooperation, and development for mutual benefit and win-win results, President Xi Jinping said on Thursday. She made the remark in a congratulatory message delivered to the 5th China Arab States Expo, which opened on Thursday in Yinchuan, capital of the Ningxia Autonomous Region. He called on Arab states to work with China on high-quality construction of the Belt and Road, to take the strategic partnership between them to a higher level and jointly build the China-Arab states community with a shared future for a new era. Designed as a platform for economic and financial cooperation, as well as cultural and people-to-people exchanges, the Expo, which closes on Sunday, is being held both online and offline under the theme of strengthening trade and economic cooperation and jointly building the Belt and Road. Pledging to promote economic and trade cooperation between China and Arab countries, government officials, experts, and business leaders from both sides are bullish about the prospects for China-Arab cooperation based on historical bonds and strong friendly ties, as well as the positive role played by these ties in assisting global recovery and growth. Facing the pandemic and profound changes in the world, China and the Arab states need to join hands and seek common development more than ever, tap business opportunities, and deepen cooperation, Chen Kuming, China's Vice Minister of Commerce, said at the opening ceremony of the event. Together with Arab countries and based on current cooperation, China is confident that the two sides' cooperation in emerging sectors such as the digital economy, new energy, and artificial intelligence will be broadened, raising China-Arab economic and trade cooperation to a new level, he said. Kamal Hassan Ali, Assistant Secretary General for Economic Affairs at the League of Arab States, said via video link that the Arab region has become one of the main areas covered by the Belt and Road Initiative, which he described as a great global project. He also said China is widely popular in the Arab region and that China provides the most prominent experience that Arab countries can learn from to revitalize the economy after the pandemic. As of July, China has signed BRI cooperation documents with 19 Arab economies. China-Arab energy cooperation has been deepening, while major projects in the fields of electricity, communication, and industrial parks keep increasing, and cooperation has been advanced in areas such as nuclear energy, satellites, and new energy, according to a report released at the Expo. China has become the largest trading partner of Arab countries, which are China's largest overseas supplier of crude oil, thanks to their complementary trade structure, according to data from the ministry. Bilateral trade totaled $239.8 billion last year, while China's exports to Arab countries grew by 2.2% year-on-year to $123.1 billion. China's direct investment in Arab countries amounted to $20.1 billion by 2020, while the latter's investments in China totaled $3.8 billion. Thanks to the tangible growth of the BRI, China Railway Construction Corp. Limited, a state-owned infrastructure project provider, plans to complete construction of Rotana Hotels and Resorts in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, a landmark hotel construction project worth 340 million dirhams, $92.6 million, in September 2023. Wang Wenzhong, the CRCC's vice president, said the CRCC will deploy more resources in key markets, such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE, as its subsidiaries there have already built many projects, including bridges, tunnels, buildings, roads, residential buildings, office complexes, and other commercial buildings. Hu Dongmei in Yinchuan contributed to this story. Find more audio news on the China Daily app.
This is China Daily Audio News. I'm Nellie Min. Digital driver's license rollout. China will roll out digital driver's licenses across the country by 2022, a public security official said on Wednesday. Li Guozhong, spokesperson for the Ministry of Public Security, said at a press conference that over 1.95 million people have obtained digital driver's licenses since a pilot program was launched in the cities of Tianjin, Chengdu, and Suzhou on June 1st. The ministry planned to expand the pilot program to more regions in the second half of this year, with more efforts put into improving the information system and supporting institutions, said Li. Drivers can apply for a digital license through an official mobile app, he said. Digital licenses can be used on various occasions, including handling traffic violations and road accidents, filing insurance claims, and renting vehicles, and have the same legal effect as paper licenses, Li added. Illegal use of athletes' names. The Chinese Olympic Committee has called for a halt to improper trademark registrations that use the names of Olympic athletes. The committee said in a statement on Wednesday that all sectors of society should respect the legitimate rights and interests of athletes and compete with Chinese laws, such as the Civil Code, the Trademark Law, and the Anti-Unfair Competition Law, when conducting commercial activities. Without getting permission from the Olympic athletes or guardians of minor players, no one should register their names as trademarks or take other actions that infringe on the rights of their names or other rights, it said. If such acts occur, the application for trademark registration should be suspended or withdrawn in a timely manner. It added that the athletes or guardians of young players have the right to sue violators. According to a Southern Metropolis Daily report on Tuesday, some 20 applications for trademark registration have been made involving the name of 14-year-old Olympic diving champion Chen Hongchan, mainly covering food, clothing, shoes, and daily necessities. Biden's approval rating tumbles. U.S. President Joe Biden's average approval rating tumbled below 50% for the first time since he took office, multiple polls have shown. As of Wednesday, Biden's approval rating fell to 49.3% in the 538 average of polls, with those disapproving of his job performance hitting a new high of 44.2%. Meanwhile, Real Clear Politics gave him a 49.6% approval rating on average during the 10-day period from August 7th to 17th, while the disapproval rating stood at 47.2%. Data from a Reuters Ipsos poll showed that Biden's approval rating dropped from 53% on Friday to 46% on Tuesday, a dip that seemed directly tied to the chaos happening in Afghanistan, for which the president, while defending the drawdown of U.S. troops, admitted he would be criticized. On the pandemic front, the end of presidential honeymoon for Biden was also backed by numbers. New coronavirus cases are up 52% nationally compared to 2 weeks ago, according to the New York Times. Deaths and hospitalizations increased 87% and 60% respectively during that same period, the data showed. Fast fashion spurs pollution. Global fast fashion brands are helping drive pollution that has dyed African rivers blue or turned their waters as alkaline as bleach, according to a report published on Tuesday. Water Witness International's report featured the polluted rivers in Lesotho in southern Africa and Tanzania to highlight the risks posed as global brands increasingly source garments from contractors in Africa, attracted by cheap labor and tax incentives. In Lesotho, researchers found a river visibly polluted with blue dye for denim jeans. Samples taken from Tanzania's Msimbazi River, meanwhile, tested a pH level of 12, the same as bleach, near a textiles factory, the report said, adding that local communities use the Msimbazi for washing, irrigation, and more. It identified some 50 international brands that source or have sourced their clothes from African nations, including Zara, ASOS, and H&M. To find more audio news, please subscribe to China Daily English News on Himalaya FM.
This is China Daily Audio News. I am A. Thomas Pasek. China-Iran to enhance bilateral ties. Beijing firmly supports Iran in safeguarding sovereignty as well as territorial integrity. China remains committed to developing friendly relations with Iran, no matter how the international and regional landscapes change, President Xi Jinping said on Wednesday. Speaking in a telephone conversation with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, Xi also called on the two countries to continue to support each other on issues related to their respective core interests and major concerns. He spoke highly of the development of China-Iran relations over the past 50 years, saying that bilateral ties have stood the test of the changes in the international situation and the friendship between the two peoples has been strengthened. In the joint fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, Xi said the two countries have strengthened their solidarity and coordination and advanced pragmatic cooperation for positive results so that their strategic mutual trust has been consolidated and international fairness and justice have been firmly upheld. The country firmly supports Iran in safeguarding its sovereignty and national dignity and opposing external interference, she said. It also supports Iran's reasonable concerns about the comprehensive Iranian nuclear deal and is willing to intensify coordination and cooperation with Iran on regional affairs to uphold their shared interests and enhance security and stability in the region, he added. Xi also talked about the 25-year blueprint on bilateral comprehensive strategic cooperation that was signed in March by the two countries. He said the plan has opened up prospects for China and Iran to deepen mutually beneficial cooperation. He called on the two countries to tap the potential for collaboration and work together on the construction of the Belt and Road to deliver more practical results. Raisi thanked China for its support for Iran's efforts to combat the pandemic, and he appreciated Beijing taking a just stand on international and regional affairs, including the Iranian nuclear issue. Iran stands ready to develop even closer strategic communication with China, enhance strategic mutual trust, deepen bilateral and multilateral cooperation, and jointly oppose unilateralism, hegemony, and external interference, he said. The Iranian president reaffirmed his country's resolute support for China's position on the Taiwan question, as well as matters related to the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, and said Tehran staunchly opposes some countries' attempts to suppress and contain China based on the excuse of tracing virus origins. Noting that the Belt and Road Initiative is strategically visionary, Raisi said Iran will actively participate in it. Also on Wednesday, she held a separate telephone conversation with Iraqi President Barham Salih. Both presidents held bilateral ties, particularly the country's cooperation in the joint fight against the pandemic. She said that China firmly supports Iraq in safeguarding its sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as its efforts to fight terrorism to safeguard its national security and stability. It also supports the Iraqi people choosing a development path suited to their country's conditions and opposes external interference in its domestic affairs, he added. China is willing to work with all friendly countries, including Iraq, to promote peace and development and advance the building of a community with a shared future for mankind, she said. For his part, Salih said his country wants to expand bilateral trade and investment cooperation, as well as exchanges and cooperation in other fields. Iraq stands ready to develop much closer strategic communication with China to jointly respond to the major changes in the international situation and work together with China in fighting terrorism to safeguard peace and stability in the region and globally, he added. Find more audio news on the China Daily app.
This is China Daily Audio News. I'm Jocelyn Eichenberg. Draft law against profiteering on big data. A draft law submitted to China's top legislature for review has proposed to make provisions against big data-enabled price discrimination against existing customers. The draft law on the protection of personal information was submitted to the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress for its third reading on Tuesday. The draft stipulates that automated decision-making using personal information should not unfairly treat individuals in terms of transaction price and other trade conditions. When pushing information and business marketing to individuals through automated decision-making, personal information processors should provide options that don't target personal characteristics at the same time or offer ways of rejection, according to the draft. Mars rover accomplishes planned tasks. China's Mars rover Zhurong has accomplished its exploration and detection tasks as planned, according to the China National Space Administration on Tuesday. As of August 15, 2021, Zhurong had worked on the surface of Mars for 90 Martian days, or about 92 days on Earth, with all scientific payloads having started to work on detection tasks, said the administration. The rover has traveled 889 meters as of August 15, and its scientific payloads have collected about 10 gigabytes of raw data. Now the rover runs stably and operates in good condition with sufficient energy. The CNSA added that the rover will continue to move to the boundary zone between the ancient sea and the ancient land in the southern part of
我认为，现在不少地方财政困难，营业税改增值税之后，地方一直缺乏主体收入税种。从保护地方发展的积极性方面来说，不太可能将土地出让金变成中央收入。如果说做转移支付补贴其他地方，更是不可能的。6月初，包括财政部、自然资源部在内的多个部委发文，决定将国有土地使用权出让收入等4项非税收入征收。一时间众说纷纭，成为社会的热议话题。有人说地方要和土地出让金告别了，也有人说出让金将被中央用作转移支付。其实在文件第8条已经有明确说明，只是征收部门发生变化，其他并不改变。而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入为84142亿元，同比增长15.9%。今年前4个月，地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入21383亿元，同比增长35%。土地出让收入实际上大部分用在地方的，它的使用范围包括征地和拆迁补偿支出、土地开发的支出、城市建设支出等等。之前，一位地方管财政的官员就曾经说过，在扣除各种成本和计提之外，大约还剩下30%。这30%呢，规范的地方一般都用来做经济建设，并不是上交中央。我认为，现在不少地方财政困难，营业税改增值税之后，地方一直缺乏主体收入税种。从保护地方发展的积极性方面来说，不太可能将土地出让金变成中央收入。如果说做转移支付补贴其他地方，更是不可能的。6月初，包括财政部、自然资源部在内的多个部委发文，决定将国有土地使用权出让收入等4项非税收入全部划转给税务部门负责征收。一时间众说纷纭，成为社会的热议话题。有人说地方要和土地出让金告别了，也有人说出让金将被中央用作转移支付。其实在文件第8条已经有明确说明，只是征收部门发生变化，其他并不改变。而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金 征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入为84142亿元，同比增长15.9%。今年前4个月，地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入21383亿元，同比增长35%。土地出让收入实际上大部分用在地方的，它的使用范围包括征地和拆迁补偿支出、土地开发的支出、城市建设支出等等。之前，一位地方管财政的官员就曾经说过，在扣除各种成本和计提之外，大约还剩下30%。这30%呢，规范的地方一般都用来做经济建设，并不是上交中央。我认为，现在不少地方财政困难，营业税改增值税之后，地方一直缺乏主体收入税种。从保护地方发展的积极性方面来说，不太可能将土地出让金变成中央收入。如果说做转移支付补贴其他地方，更是不可能的。6月初，包括财政部、自然资源部在内的多个部委发文，决定将国有土地使用权出让收入等4项非税收入全部划转给税务部门负责征收。一时间众说纷纭，成为社会的热议话题。有人说地方要和土地出让金告别了，也有人说出让金将被中央用作转移支付。其实在文件第8条已经有明确说明，只是征收部门发生变化，其他并不改变。而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入为84142亿元，同比增长15.9%。今年前4个月，地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入21383亿元，同比增长35%。土地出让收入实际上大部分用在地方的，它的使用范围包括征地和拆迁补偿支出、土地开发的支出、城市建设支出等等。之前，一位地方管财政的官员就曾经说过，在扣除各种成本和计提之外，大约还剩下30%。这30%呢，规范的地方一般都用来做经济建设，并不是上交中央。我认为，现在不少地方财政困难，营业税改增值税之后，地方一直缺乏主体收入税种。从保护地方发展的积极性方面来说，不太可能将土地出让金变成中央收入。如果说做转移支付补贴其他地方，更是不可能的。6月初，包括财政部、 自然资源部在内的多个部委发文，决定将国有土地使用权出让收入等4项非税收入全部划转给税务部门负责征收。一时间众说纷纭，成为社会的热议话题。有人说地方要和土地出让金告别了，也有人说出让金将被中央用作转移支付。其实在文件第8条已经有明确说明，只是征收部门发生变化，其他并不改变。而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入为84142亿元，同比增长15.9%。今年前4个月，地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入21383亿元，同比增长35%。土地出让收入实际上大部分用在地方的，它的使用范围包括征地和拆迁补偿支出、土地开发的支出、城市建设支出等等。之前，一位地方管财政的官员就曾经说过，在扣除各种成本和计提之外，大约还剩下30%。这30%呢，规范的地方一般都用来做经济建设，并不是上交中央。我认为，现在不少地方财政困难，营业税改增值税之后，地方一直缺乏主体收入税种。从保护地方发展的积极性方面来说，不太可能将土地出让金变成中央收入。如果说做转移支付补贴其他地方，更是不可能的。6月初，包括财政部、自然资源部在内的多个部委发文，决定将国有土地使用权出让收入等4项非税收入全部划转给税务部门负责征收。一时间众说纷纭，成为社会的热议话题。有人说地方要和土地出让金告别了，也有人说出让金将被中央用作转移支付。其实在文件第8条已经有明确说明，只是征收部门发生变化，其他并不改变。而且在此之前，水利建设基金等非税收入相继划转至税务部门，社保费也已经全部由税务部门征收。这次划转只是之前改革的持续，目的是为推进税收现代化提供有力的制度保证。因此，土地出让金征收的划转是税收改革的一部分，而非土地出让金自身的改革内容。根据财政部数据，2020年地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入为84142亿元，同比增长15.9%。今年前4个月，地方政府国有土地使用权出让收入21383亿元，同比增长35%。土地出让收入 实际上大部分用在地方的，它的使用范围包括征地和拆迁补偿支出、土地开发的支出、城市建设支出等等。之前，一位地方管财政的官员就曾经说过，在扣除各种成本和计提之外，大约还剩下30%。这30%呢，规范的地方一般都用来做经济建设，并不是上交中央。